how's it going? So in this video I want to talk about my EcoBoost Mustang. It's been about 3 months and it's about 10,000 miles on the car since I've gotten it, and I want to talk about how it's holding up. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Alright, so in this whole video here there's going to be some good and some bad, and then of course the ugly, because it's the inevitable. And I love my Mustangs. I've had 3 different generations, and just like those, this one ain't perfect either. We're going to talk about some of those imperfections in this video, but we're also going to talk about the good things as well. So just going over my 3 months of ownership and about 10,000 miles of driving, and how I feel about the car, and how I feel the car is doing, and how I think the car will do for the future. Okay, so I'm going to start with the good, because I never want to start anything bad. So let's start with the good. The good thing is this has been, so far, a problem-free car. Hasn't been any, that's a speed bump there. There hasn't been any major issues or any major concerns I have with the vehicle. It's been pretty solid. I've been really happy with its performance, considering all things, considering it is only a turbo 4-cylinder, and considering it is mostly stock. You know, there's no tune, there's no nothing. So with all of that taking in place, I am pretty happy with the performance of the car as is. Of course, do I want more? Absolutely I do, but considering all things, I am pretty pleased with how the car is now. It's a fun car, it drives nice, it rides nice. You know, even though it doesn't have the magnetic ride suspension or all that, it just has the regular sport suspension, but it rides nice, it handles well. It's just a good driving car. It's fun, it's quick, and when, you know, the car is set up properly, and by I mean set up properly, you know, tire pressures are all inflated the way they're supposed to be, and like if I set my throttle controller to the economy setting and just drive easy but normal, like not babying it but not being a maniac, I can sustain 30 miles per gallon in this car, which to me is an incredible feat, that I get 300 plus horsepower Mustang that manages 30 miles to the gallon. Like, you know, that's nuts. Like, generally we don't care about fuel economy, but let's face it, if the car is capable of getting good fuel economy while also being powerful and fast, then I'll take it. Trust me, I'm not going to complain. So most of it, yes, it's been a very good car. In the first 3 months of my ownership and 10,000 miles. You know, I took this down to Florida. It was a straight drive down. We, you know, drove it all around down there, went everywhere, straight drive back, and it did well. That's going to lead into some slight concerns I do have. Now, even though the car is running good, there's no major issues, there are things I have noticed that have taken place over the course of this 10,000 miles of driving. Now, knowing the EcoBoost engines, this actually is a little bit concerning to me, and hopefully this doesn't lead into any problems in the future. But what I have noticed is, definitely on a cold start, this car has already developed a misfire. You can hear it on a cold start. There's a pop, 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 pop. You can hear it, but once it warms up, it doesn't seem to have any issues. But definitely cold start, I'm already noticing misfiring. Now, of course, misfiring can be related to a whole bunch of different things. I just put a fresh set of spark plugs in this, you know, I was hoping maybe that could have had something to do with it, but no, changing spark plugs didn't affect it whatsoever. So right there, I know it's not spark related, so hopefully it's not anything to do with the fuel system, the injectors, or any of the valve train, the valves or anything that's creating that issue. But I mean, it's not a horrible misfire, but it is noticeable, and it wasn't there when I first got the car. It is now. And I haven't been driving this car stupid, you know. I've been driving it pretty easy for the most part, like I am now in this video. I do have my fun runs, I do have spirited driving moments, but most of the time I drive this car normally, you know, because I can't afford full tank of 93 twice a week, you know. So I don't beat on this car, so I can't say even, it's like, oh, you dog crap out of your car. Like, no, I haven't. I've changed the oil twice already with quality oil, and yeah, I shouldn't have any, there shouldn't theoretically be any issues, but yeah, so I just thought I would bring that up. With that said, another thing that I have noticed that's, I mean, very recently, like within the last couple weeks, I've noticed this, is occasionally, depending on what I'm doing, I notice that the transmission seems to slip a little bit. I don't know if it's the torque converter slipping. I don't know what. I mean, it's slightly, but once again, it has not done it since I bought the car. It hasn't really manifested itself into a problem. Sometimes I can, like if I'm in sport mode and I'm driving around, I kind of roll onto the throttle. I feel like this thud, perhaps, and I hope that's not the torque converter. I know these 10R80s have issues, and I hope that's not one of them. So far, it hasn't manifested itself into any other major issues. I am keeping an eye on it. I'd hate to have to use my Ford warranty so soon. Like I said, it's an occasional thing. It doesn't happen all the time. So it's not anything I'm really concerned about at the moment. But apart from that, mechanically, the car's been fine. It's just those really two little things there that are kind of concerning. But regardless of the fact, it's nothing major at the moment. The car still drives fine, still has plenty of power, no issues, right? Okay, so moving on from that. With that said, there are other unfortunate quality issues that I'm actually very upset about. And look, I get it. It's only a $30,000 Mustang. But let's be real here. The body is the same on a $30,000 EcoBoost or a $70,000 Shelby. The body is the same. It's the same chassis. So let's be real here. I mean, hell, you can even get this particular trim well up into the $40,000 loaded up. I mean, that's, in grand scheme of cars, performance cars, that ain't nothing. To a lot of people, that's a lot of money. To me, this was a lot of money. I definitely expect my money that I work hard for, that I don't have to be put towards something that I feel like is going to last, feel like it's going to actually be worth what I paid for. And I feel like even at $30,000, some of these issues, it shouldn't be present. These really shouldn't be problems. But the major things I noticed here are body issues. Now, the first things I've noticed is the front fenders have shifted around a little bit. They have a little bit of Challenger. They have a little bit of gap now in them in the front fenders. Mainly it's the passenger side front fender, like sticks out a little bit, you know, like definitely they've come misaligned. So that's annoying, and I know that's been an issue that's plagued this car since day one. That's known. Whatever. The other issues are the front fog lights or marker lights that sit in the bumper. They have loosened up over time. Now the passenger side isn't too bad. It doesn't move around a lot. It's still kind of the way it should be, but the driver's side is really loose, especially in one corner, and it flops around, and you can actually hear it rattle around if you hit a bump or something, and that's not good. That is terrible. I haven't hit anything. There's no reason that light should come loose like that, but it's loose at only 10,000 miles on the car. Like I said, normal driving. In addition to that, there's the little splash panels, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what you call them. Right behind the doors, you know, comes up from the rocker panel. It's a little piece there. Once again, on the passenger side, there hasn't been any issues. It's nice and snug where it's at. Of course, it has a little flex because it's plastic. But look, take a look on the driver's side. Yeah, that's not supposed to do that. Broke free of its clip, or the clip, or however it's fastened, it's broke free, and obviously, see, it sticks out like that, and that is no good. That's absolutely terrible. And then here's a part that I don't even know if it exists on other cars, other Mustangs with this spoiler has the issue. But this was something I noticed pretty much since the first day of owning the car, and that's this little paint chip right here, right where the spoiler mounts. It's on both sides. It's a paint chip right at the corner of the spoiler on the deck lid, and I find that very strange. I get it, $30,000 Mustang, but come on. I mean, the quality here is subpar, man. This is Ford's hallmark, iconic. I mean, this car is as American as apple pie. but look at this quality. But that's what we have gotten here with the Mustang, and to me, it's very upsetting. Like I said, I've owned 3 generations of Mustang. 3. I've had 2 Fox bodies. I've had the 97 Cobra, the SN97 generation, and then this car here. And I've driven S197 cars, V6, V8, and let me tell you, overall, this has been the best car. This has been the best generation Mustang I have driven, and definitely since the best one I've owned. But it's still sad to see these very small problems that really are disappointing to see in such a car like this. Yeah, I love my Mustangs, and I'm just so sad to see these issues. But all in all, I can't be too upset because this car is just such a blast to drive. You know, it's only a turbo 4-cylinder, but this RS derived 2.3 is it's pretty spicy. I gotta admit, I still sometimes get surprised that this is a stock 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, turbo 4-cylinder. But this is, I've driven a regular EcoBoost, and this is nothing like a regular EcoBoost. And I just want to kind of demonstrate just how ridiculous this car can be. It can, like I've made a video before explaining how this car can go from mild to wild, and it really does do that. And a couple of flips of a switch, changing the driving modes, this car can become pretty crazy. You don't even want to know how fast that is. I'll say it's 3 numbers. And generally the cars can be faster than this. It's a little heat soaked from driving around, and I got a full tank of gas, so that weighs the car down a little bit. But I'm just blown away about the performance of this engine. It definitely has more power than you would think. It has the same kind of power. It has the torque of a V8, and you know, it has good mid-range and top bend power too. It's a nice rounded power band. And I think it complements the chassis really well. It doesn't overwhelm it, but it definitely makes a good, fun driving experience. When I'm gonna put the car back into the mild mode here, and just like that, back into a nice, comfortable car. I'll put the windows up here, turn the AC on so you can hear me better. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I am upset over these small quality issues. But overall, I am really happy with the car. This is the HPP package specifically is very highly underrated. I mean, you see a lot, all the other YouTube videos you see on this car, and they all say the same thing, and they're not joking. You know, people who review this car, you know, they'll say one thing, because they only get a short time with the car, but I have lived with this car now for 3 months, and have 10,000 miles of seat time in this car. And I can tell you that this is a highly underrated car. I mean, you could pick one of these up like I did for about 30,000, maybe 32 or so. If you get a base model EcoBoost with adding just the HPP package, which gives you some nice goodies, but doesn't give you a whole lot. Everything else comes with all the other packages and stuff you get, but then the price goes up from there. The one thing I don't like about how Ford has price this vehicle and equip it is there is one feature I would love to have. There was one package I would love to have had on this car. I think it was well worth the money, but you can't get it unless you have the car equipped with the 1A package or whatever. You know, it's like the convenience package or technology package, I think, more or less. But that's the handling package, because the handling package is only like $2,000 more, and that gives you the MagneRide. Now, I don't know about you, but I think a MagneRide system for $2,000 is a steal. You know, you can go in the aftermarket and see you can get MagneRide for any car now, but you're paying like anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 for a MagneRide setup from the aftermarket. So $2,000 for a factory MagneRide system that we all know works really well is a steal. The problem is you can't get the handling package with the MagneRide unless you get the technology package, which I guess gives you the digital gauge cluster, which is nice. I love that, but you know, I would much rather sacrifice spending $4,000 for that technology package just so I can have the MagneRide, rather than having to pay $4,000 for that technology package just so I can get MagneRide. So really, it ends up being about $6,000 more if you want the suspension package, which I think is ridiculous, quite honestly. But all in all, I still think it's a steal of a car. Even just the way it is, it handles really well. And the thing is, the way I look at this car right now, it is a blank canvas. It has all the good starting points, so that way I can make the car the way I want. And in a way, I like that, you know, because over time I can make this car the way I want it to be, you know. The nice thing is you do kind of save money if you opt for options like that up front with the purchase of the vehicle, and of course it's all covered under warranty. But grand scheme of things, suspension components aren't really all that expensive unless you go with like a super high-end coilover kit. But like the springs and stuff are pretty affordable for most people. But yeah, I mean, that's how this car has been to me for the last 3 months and 10,000 miles. It's been pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. But that will be it for this video. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with everyone you know. If you want to see more content like this, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for the next true car enthusiast video.